Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Lenore Bressler. Welcome to the July 17, 2019 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Right now, we're going to look at a great passage in Matthew 29. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light, and you will find rest for your souls. These are the words of Jesus. And you know, I think it's just so sad that so many people think that Christianity is about rules and regulations and having to live sorrowful lives, always burdened with all this grief over our sin and trying to do good works. And it is not about that at all. It is about Christ helping us, making things easier and better for us. You know, I don't know about you, but something I despise, the thing I probably despise more than anything in this world is I despise unnecessary grief, unnecessary stress. We know that life is not perfect. We know we live in a fallen world. We know that there's going to be ups and downs and difficulties and valleys, etc. But what I don't want is I don't want it to be any harder than it needs to be. Can I get an amen? I bet you feel the same way. And you know, it's great to know that we serve a God who feels the exact same way. Not only does he come into this world to save us, literally, from death and give us an eternity as our future and the riches of the universe as our inheritance, but he also comes to make the here and now, living in a fallen world, no, not perfect, but a lot better than it could be without him. A lot easier, a lot less stress, a lot more meaning, and a lot more comfortable. That is just the way it is. But it's interesting. When he talks about taking on his yoke, that implies that there is a yoke on us. And there is. That's called living in a fallen world. Yes, there is a burden to still being on this earth. There is a burden to being not yet in the glorious beyond of heaven, where sin cannot touch us, where we do not have to deal with the daily presence of sin. Yes, we've been freed from the ultimate payment and consequence of sin, but we know that we are still in a fallen world. We know that we still do sin, and we have to deal with the natural consequences. Maybe no formal consequences from the Lord, but the natural consequences that fall from just, if you did this, then this is bound to happen. And yet, what does Christ say? He says his yoke, his burden is light and easy. Some of you know that this is referring to when you had oxen or other beasts of burden that needed to be put in work, in the service of work. They would be yoked, right? And that's how you could manage them. That's how you could use them, and they would be helpful to mankind in the plowing of fields, etc. Well, what you may not realize is that oftentimes there was a double yoking. You would yoke a young, inexperienced, perhaps stubborn or rebellious type of animal with an older and wiser one. And so there's also the implication here that we are in a double yoke with the Lord himself. Think about that God cares so much about you that he wants to help you. He will literally get in the yoke of this world with you and walk side by side with you so that he may share your load, direct you, calm you, just like the older, more experienced, wiser animal would do with the younger, more rebellious one in the ancient days. What a glorious metaphor, and what a wonderful and abiding assurance to us. We're yoked in this world, but whose yoke are you wearing? And who's helping you with the load? I'm Jay Lenore Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Have a great night.